the reason why I say this in the context of perhaps design education and pedagogy, how that changed, I think that's a radical change. And I'm thinking about this being in this building right now, that we want to perhaps entertain a little bit as well, right? You can't pretend nothing happened, right? Teach studio as if nothing happened when we have this. And what I like about this title in particular is it reminds me of Simondon's model on how stuff individuates, right? So Simondon actually used transductions as a key term and kind of as a counter-proposal to the holomorphic model, right? Aristotelian idea that matter and form are separate, and that form is imposed onto matter as a passive, inert substance. And that has actually been a model for as long as we've had architecture schools, meaning that the architect's mind imposes a will onto the design material, ultimately also the design machines that we were referring to. What Transductions, model by Gilbert Simondon, beautifully describes is a very different idea, right? That form doesn't come from the outside or is imposed onto stuff, but it actually comes from within material. So the model that he presents is the crystal growth, right? The crystal growth as a counter model to the heliomorphic clay brick idea. And there, you don't know what the ultimate phenotypical expression is of that growth. It goes in transductive layers. One induces the next one. And so this is also, I think, a really good model and where we could consider a gradual shift in design education. That we perhaps let a little bit go of that idea there's this central architect with a genius mind that controls everything that's going on in the design process. I mean, we've known for long that that's not true in terms of interhuman collaboration. We know that there is no such thing as an architectural project that is conceived and executed anyway by one person. And the idea, I mean, recently was a really interesting article because we have lost a lot of architects, you know, in the recent couple of years, actually. And there was this article saying, why don't we not try to replace them? Right? Why don't we get over the idea there's a central design agent that controls everything? So in terms of that model and in terms of what is happening in the next years with design education, I think we find a way of helping students develop another kind of intuition. I don't think that in 5 years anybody will draw a floor plan from scratch anyway. I look at this, among others, from the perspective of housing design, because we've been teaching housing studios and working with AI models for several years now. And I think it's as important, if not more important, to develop a certain kind of foundational logic, in this particular case about housing topologies and all kinds of constraints that refer to a particular design challenge, but rather help our students to develop an intuition on how to quickly sort through a vast amount of possible solutions based on disciplinary knowledge, but not necessarily based on the same kind of craft and technique that we're so accustomed to.